Let's get to baseball, where the Brewers continue to be atop Matt Snyder's power rankings this week. The Fighting Pat Murphys still lead the majors in wins with 85. They've been in Matt's penthouse for more than a month. Biggest risers are the Giants, up 4 spots to 16. Biggest fallers are from the same division. Padres down 4 slots to 11. I'm Tommy Tran, now joined by our Power Rankings guru, Matt Snyder, and our MLB insider, Jim Bowden. Guys, great to be with you. This is like old times. We're going to have Matt set up his Power Rankings, defend his selections, and then Jim's going to offer his thoughts and then add any other team news and any other things that an insider does for this show. All right. So we start with the Red Sox and Yankees there, Matt, 7v8. Take me through the thought process of where you landed and also where you project them moving forward here as we near October baseball.
Yeah, well, they're pretty even right now. They're deadlocked in the standings. Both teams are hot right now. The Yankees have won 14 of the last 19, and the Red Sox have actually been better. So they're about even. I guess a tiebreaker would be that the Red Sox have beat up the Yankees head-to-head this year. Within that, Yankees have won 14 out of the last 19. They lost 3 or 4 to the Red Sox in there. So they're beating everybody else except the Red Sox. And I got to say, I really, really like the Red Sox right now. The way that things look as they move toward the playoffs, the lineup's in very good shape. If you look at that top end of the rotation, Garrett Crochet, one of the best aces in all of baseball. Brian Bayo, Lucas Giolito look really good behind him. And then you go to the back end of the bullpen. Garrett Whitlock has been amazing as a setup man. Steven Matz has been really good since the Red Sox acquired him in front of the trade deadline. And what more could we say about Aroldis Chapman? Who would have thought, age 37, Aroldis Chapman would be having his best season ever? But it looks like this is probably the best version of him. It's not the most dominant or most intimidating version of him or anything like that, but you don't have those bouts where it looks like he doesn't know where the ball is going to go. He has so much better command this season. This is probably the best version of him. So pretty much everything about the Red Sox really looks pretty good right now.
Yeah, and for Aroldis Chapman, he got rewarded with a contract extension by Boston, 1 year at $13 million, with a vesting option that can add 2 more years next year. So it could end up being a 3-year, $39 million deal. You know, it's been interesting watching these two teams over the last 30 days because the Yankees have outscored the Red Sox 140 to 124. They've almost doubled the home runs, 54 to 27 the Yankees have. And when you look at team ERA over the last 30 days, the Yankees and Red Sox are 1-2 in baseball. Yankees ERA has been 3.32, while the Red Sox at 3.61. But what the Yankees have done recently is taken advantage of a very weak schedule, doing a lot of damage against non-contending teams, which is how they've had to win. But I think when we push this forward, Tommy and Matt, we have to look at the schedule. And the Yankees' schedule over the next 12 games is extremely difficult. They have to play the West leading Astros 3 times, the East leading Blue Jays 3 times, the Central leading Tigers 3 times, and then they get the Red Sox for 3. That's a tough 12-game schedule coming up. On the flip side, Boston has 3 against Cleveland, 3 against Arizona, 3 against the Athletics before they play the Yankees. So you look at the schedule, it's a huge advantage for Boston the rest of the way, and that may be the difference on who finishes ahead of who between now and the end of the season.
You guys bring up some great points. And, Jim, I'm going to throw it right back at you only because it's become pretty topical here with Walker Buehler and that release here. What more can you tell us about what happened there and why Boston couldn't keep him around in some type of capacity for this run?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Walker Buehler's stuff. He was down a mile an hour across the board, and they couldn't figure out how to get him back. And the stuff just wasn't good enough, and they had to move on from him in the rotation. They put him in the bullpen. He didn't want to be there. Kind of disgruntled, and so they just moved on from him, which I totally understand what they did. Now, on the flip side, the Phillies people took a look at him, and they feel they have found something that if they make an adjustment or two, they think they can get Buehler back. And remember this, when the Phillies signed Buehler, and by the way, Tim Mays as well, they both remember those guys pitching in the World Series last year. In the biggest moment on the biggest stage, both of them pitched extremely well. So the Phillies looked at Buehler and said, look, we think there's some mechanical things that we can adjust with him and get him back to being the guy we saw last October. And for them, okay, we're going to start, but he's going to start the game on the 12th at home. But look, if it doesn't work in the rotation, there's a guy they think they can put in the bullpen if they can make some adjustments and maybe get the guy that was so dominant for the Dodgers last October.
So the Phillies take a dart throw in Walker Buehler, who's a former Dodger. It's a nice segue to the Dodgers, Matt Snyder, because the Phillies and the Dodgers are certainly right there in the upper echelon of your power rankings. But in terms of LA specifically, what have they done well to move up in your rankings?
Well, it's at some point the talent rises. You know, that's why we play 162 games here in our marathon of a season. And the Dodgers went through a lot of issues with health, with their bullpen, with inconsistency in the lineup. Things have started to kind of look like they're going to get their ducks in a row for the playoffs. And the biggest thing for me is the health in the rotation, because you've got Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, Kershaw, Ohtani, all healthy. Ohtani's finally built up to where he can go 5 innings. So it looks like one of those, if it continues on this path, a good problem to have as they head toward the playoffs, because you only need 4 starters in a playoff rotation. They didn't even have 4 last year. They had 3 and then figured it out with a bullpen game. Right now, it looks like they have 5 as they get closer to the playoffs. I don't know exactly which one they would kick back to the bullpen, but that would help the bullpen then by having an extra starter there. So everything looks like it's starting to line up for the Dodgers to be kind of firing on all cylinders for the playoffs, and that's one of the reasons why they got bumped up.
Yeah, Matt, and no doubt we've looked at the Dodgers roster all year and said, look, this is the best roster in baseball. It's just a matter of can they be healthy. And to your point, you look at Blake Snell, last 4 starts, his ERA combined is 1.93. Clayton Kershaw, he's 4-0 with a 2.38 ERA over his last 5 starts as well. And as you mentioned, Yamamoto's healthy, Tyler Glasnow's healthy, Emmett Sheehan has been red hot, plus Ohtani. So you got 6 starters right there, and they're going to be able to take one of these guys, or maybe 2 of them, and put them in the bullpen, which is going to be important for this team. But also keep in mind the 3 future Hall of Famers over the last 24 games, they have absolutely stepped up for the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani has 7 homers and 12 RBIs over the last 24 games. Mookie Betts is hitting .323 with 3 homers and 11 RBIs. And first baseman Freddie Freeman over those same 24 games, 6 homers, 16 RBIs. So when the 3 Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers, are stepping up, doing their thing, and you have a healthy rotation, this is a very scary Dodger team.
So we just saw some highlights of the Dodgers and Padres there, Matt. So you move LA up. You do move San Diego down. They're still in it for the division. Wild card race still looking good. But that lineup has been a bit of an issue here. Is it just sort of a bad spell for them, you think, or maybe a bad sign of things to come?
Well, there's a little bit of a bad spell for sure, but on the season on the whole, I'm worried that they just don't slug enough. What happened to Slam Diego, man? I mean, only the Pirates are the only team that have fewer home runs this season than the San Diego Padres. It seems like Fernando Tatis Jr. just doesn't have his power stroke anymore. Jackson Merrill has kind of taken a step back there. A lot of issues in that lineup, and it's mostly, as I said, it's mostly the slugging there. Then you go to the bullpen, Jason Adam, kind of that freak injury on front of the mound yesterday. You don't see anything like that. Ruptured quad tendon, so he's out a while. In the rotation, Dylan Cease still pretty unreliable overall. They've lost 6 of 8. They do have a very easy remaining schedule, including 7 games against the Rockies. So they have time to get things right. It doesn't look like they're in danger of falling out of the playoff picture or anything like that. So still some time, but I would like to see a lot more power. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I'm really concerned about the starting rotation, Matt. So I agree with everything you just said. But, you brought up Dylan Cease. His ERA is 4.88 over his last 6 starts. And Yu Darvish, who's going to take them out tonight, he also has an ERA of 4.88 over his last 5 starts. And J.P. Sears, who they got from the Athletics at the trade deadline, he's at a 5.52 ERA over his last 3 starts. That's 3/5 of your rotation. And Michael King is still not healthy. He is still on the injured list with knee inflammation. He did throw a side yesterday. It went well. They're hoping to get him back next week, but that has been a huge loss for them. And then, as you mentioned, the injury to Jason Adam, he has been the best right-handed setup reliever in the entire league this year. In 65 appearances, a 1.92 ERA. And although they have a deep bullpen, I get it, with Robert Suarez and Mason Miller and Adrian Morejon, all 3 are all-stars, I get it. But taking Adam out of there is a huge blow for a team that struggles in the rotation as well. Plus, we didn't talk about Xander Bogaerts, one of the core players, their shortstop, one of their leaders, also out for the season as well. So, look, San Diego is going to make the playoffs, probably more likely as a wild card team at this point. But the injuries have piled up, and the lack of success in the rotation is a huge, huge problem for the San Diego team.
And then let's get a quick thought on the biggest risers, the Giants. Matt, probably too little too late, but Devers finally hitting bombs in August. Verlander with a vintage outing. Quick thought on San Francisco here.
Yeah, they've won 8 of 9. They've crawled back to 500, but it is too little too late. But yeah, like Willy Adames finally hitting. Rafael Devers on fire right now. Luis Matos looking really, really good. Like, they've won 8 of 9, and 5 of those were against the Cubs and Brewers. So it's not like they've just been beating up on weak teams. Kudos to the Giants, but as you said, too little too late.
Yeah, and look, the Stars are doing what they were supposed to do. The 2 big moves that Buster Posey has made since he went to the Giants. In the offseason, he went and got the shortstop, Willy Adames. Last 30 days, 9 homers, 16 RBIs. He made the big trade in June to get Devers, 9 homers, 17 RBIs over the last 30 days. They're finally finding their footing. They finally feel at home in San Francisco. They're performing like Buster Posey expected. And then at the top of the rotation, Logan Webb has been really good. 2.5 ERA over his last 5 starts. And the 42-year-old Justin Verlander, like a nice bottle of Margaux, just keeps getting better with age. Over his last 6 starts, his ERA has been 3.62. So I really like that the Giants are going to finish strong. But look, they still have a lot of work to do before they become a contending team. We won't be covering them in the postseason this year.
No, we will not. And Verlander waited too long to get that first win, but is look good to see that 10K performance from him. And as a Giant fan, again, bittersweet. All right, Jim, Matt, great to be with you guys once again. We'll look forward to Matt's power rankings again as we near October baseball. A reminder about HQ, hit every highlight, scan the QR code, and we're streaming for free 24/7.